got trouble.
Oh, we got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here in River City.
With a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands.
Starbucks gives you an experience. Now we're paying $5 for a cup of coffee. Why? We have the money to do it. We're willing to pay for the experience that comes with it. Part of the experience, there are lots of pieces to it. Some people like the attitude of Starbucks, right? They give health insurance to part-time workers. Their sourcing of materials is important to some people. The flavor of the coffee is only a small part of what they're delivering in this experience. But what are people paying for? They're paying for the experience. Do you see the distinction I'm making here? To drive it home a little bit more, I want to present a little video clip from 2 years ago from the VCI group. This is Steve Zabriskie, who just did the Polycom showcase. And here he was talking about, his presentation was the art and science of telepresence. Jim Smith, another Polycom friend of his, did the science part, and Steve talked about the art of telepresence. Now this was 2010, so the big thing was immersive telepresence. So as you listen to these few clips, you'll hear that, but these things that he's saying are now really true about all the formats of video conferencing. They're still about experience.
It's going to deal with how people perceive and how we can build conferencing rooms that get people involved in the conference. And then from Wikipedia, telepresence requires that the senses, we know what all the 5 senses are, of the users or users are provided in such a stimuli to give the feeling of being in that other location. And from Wayne House, and Andrew and Ira alluded to this, it's an experience that creates an illusion that you are where the remote participants are and they're with you in the same room. Hidden technology. You know, right now I don't see microphones, you know, I don't see speakers, but we know they're here subconsciously, but they don't interfere with our communications. And that's what we need to build into our video rooms. The feeling of being present. This is really weird stuff. And as I worked with this, the first time I heard this presentation, I'm thinking, this makes sense when I got all the way through it, but it's so different from what we're used to doing. How many of us have ever stopped when we've gone into a video room and thought about the mental process that is going on as somebody walks into that room? But to be successful, we have to. We have to get to that point where we're thinking about the user and not the technology. Virtual environment engineers have for decades spun our minds through cyberspace in order to understand something fundamental about the structure of experience. You say, this is not possible. We don't do this. I'm going to give you examples of what happens every day to you in a created reality environment. It's your consciousness. The study of presence can be seen then as the study of those traces of phenomenal experience that emerge when brains and bodies are properly aligned with ideal technology, configured and mediated spaces. I'm going to create that environment where my users can go into and say, I've had a conference. It's not physics, but psychology, the extended mind, the place where experience, technology, and psychology meet. You're not a technologist. You're not just a technologist. You're a psychologist. You're a user experience person. You're a human factors person.
So 2 years ago, we were kind of at the tip of this revolution, of this trouble in River City that is represented by the technology getting better. So now we're talking about facilitating human communication and human collaboration, and we don't think like that. What this represents, what I'm talking about today, represents a different way of understanding the service that we provide that needs to become a true experience and managed as one. We have a great responsibility here, folks, to enable the people that use our technology to go beyond what they know. And managing as an experience and considering work as theater, I think, is a better model than what we've been doing. So, this progression of economic value comes from the book, The Experience Economy. We have the commodities, goods, services, and then staging experiences. And what happens here to make a good into a service is you customize it. Let's talk about the birthday cake. This was making the good. The good was the box on the store's shelf. The service was the bakery that would make that cake for you. That's a customization. They added the frosting. They put your name on it. If you customize that service, you get an experience. That's what Chuck E. Cheese does.
You got trouble. Oh, we got trouble. Right here in River City. Right here in River City. We're the capital T in that.